Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you? You see the title? You don't get what you want. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Agree? If you agree, share. This is what I want to talk about because no matter what industry, right? No matter what industry you are looking at, or no matter what industry you are working at, businesses need to sell their products and services to keep up. We all know this, right? And they also need to negotiate with, better pricing with vendors. So therefore, negotiating is always and will always be an essential skill in businesses. However, the world that we live right now, if you think about it, right, the world that we live right now, the realities of the world, during COVID-19 and after COVID-19, and for some time, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, could be more competitive. And why is more competitive? Because simply there is less money moving around. There is less money circulating around. Therefore, businesses need to negotiate more effectively to spend less and profit more. Because you may not have as many potential customers as before due to the fact that there's less money circulating in the economy. Purchasing power has been reduced, right? At least for some industries, not for all, for majority of the industries. But not also on a business level, but on a personal level. If you can show up to a job interview, for example, with proven negotiating skills, right? You already have a decisive advantage over your peers. Because right now, when there is one job opening, there are more candidates, right? Because unfortunately, some people have been laid off, so there are more candidates per job opening right now, I think, around the world. So if before you had a job opening and you have an average 50 candidates that send their CVs, now maybe you have 70 or 80. So the job market is much more competitive than 6 months ago. So what I want to share with you today, with my experience, I have been in sales and negotiation and building teams and working with different cultures and coaching people for over 10 years now. I started my first business at the age of 21 when I was in the UK. One thing that I realized that you don't get what you want, you don't get what you deserve, but you get what you negotiate. So I would like to share with you from my experience, my tips on how to become a better negotiator. Okay. And I put some things together this morning, around 10 to 15 points. And every professional, you understand the importance of negotiating. You understand the importance of effective and powerful negotiation. And whether, as I said before, you are a job candidate discussing your potential salary, or a CEO trying to land your company's next business, big deal, or entrepreneur looking for VCs, you will have much more luck in the process of getting what you want if you master or improve the art of negotiation. Because I really do see negotiation as an art. And it takes time, it takes practice, but I do believe with dedication and practice, anyone can become better at negotiating. But it takes time. It's one of those things that you have to practice it. So let me share with you what I think are 10 to 15 points that will help you become a better negotiator. And the first thing that you need to have is empathy. I'm sure you heard of the word before lately, right? Empathy. So if you're going to negotiate a win-win agreement, it is of paramount importance. Oh, I do sound like like a pilot. If you fly Cathay Pacific, your security and safety, it is of paramount importance. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the hospitality of Singapore Airlines. Anyway, go back, focus. So empathy. So number one, if you want to improve your negotiation skills, improve your empathy. So if you're going to negotiate a win-win agreement, it is essential to understand and practice what the other party is looking to gain from the deal. And such empathy will enable you to to identify what is important to the person across the table and offer a solution that will be appealing to them, therefore mutually beneficial. Empathy. Understand what the other person wants. Number two, you need to be clear, you need to have clarity on your goals. So for example, if you go for a job interview, okay, you need to be clear of the minimum salary that you accept because you have your monthly commitments, right? You have your bills to pay. So you need to be very clear on your goals. So be clear on what you desire for all aspects of the negotiation. So what financial parameters are important to meet your needs and desires? And then what are you willing to compromise that could compensate for not meeting those financial requirements? So maybe if you are in sales or business development, or maybe you have a bonus at your work, it depends on what you do, maybe you will accept a lower salary than you expect a little bit, but the commission will be higher. So are you willing to compromise that? So before you go onto the table of negotiation, you need to know, you need to be very clear, on your goals. You need to have clarity on your goals. And finally, you need to know what is your limit and when, at what point you are willing to walk away. Because having clarity gives you confidence. Clarity gives you confidence. Therefore, your confidence and clarity will be evident to the other person as well. So number two, clarity on your goals. Okay, empathy number one, number two, clarity. Third point, you need to have a relaxed attitude. Don't be desperate, a little bit indifferent. Make sure you come across as someone who has other options as well. And this is radiated through attitude rather than verbalization, with body language and so on. So if you're eager, let's say in a job interview, or you are discussing with a candidate, or you are pitching your product or service to a potential client as an entrepreneur or to VC, are you eager to go to the next step as soon as possible? Good. But be a little bit relaxed as well. Don't be desperate. The other party may start to worry that you have other plans and they might lose you unless they move quickly. But if you come across as desperate, it's not a good sign. So have a relaxed attitude, have confidence, believe in yourself. And sometimes even though you don't have other options, you need to fake it until you make it. Don't be desperate. If you go for, even in your personal life, if you're a guy or a girl, no one likes a desperate person. A girl will not come with you if you're desperate. Because you're not doing it for the girl, you're doing it for you. Or say, no, you're too desperate, you're too pushy, I don't want it. Number 4, let's move on. Know how to add value. How do you do this? Ask. What can I do to add value to the other party? What can I do to add value to my client? What can I do to add value to the company if you're going to recruit me? So if you ask this to yourself and to others as well, you are moving the conversation from win-lose to win-win. It's like a collaboration. And if you go for a job interview, you can say, I want to, work with a company that is developing and progressing. I'm sure you don't want to recruit a candidate and 3 months down the line telling you they want to leave. So how can I add value to this role? What are you expecting? You understand? So together the parties can achieve more if they openly share resources, break down silos and create a culture where vulnerability and generating value is the status quo. If you are pitching a client, you can say, how can I add value to your services? So, and if somebody asks me what is negotiation, one of the definitions I can give about negotiation is the art of hearing what is not said and delivering the value repeatedly. Move on. Number 5. Listen. Listen, listen, ask. Active listening is paramount. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use it in the right proportion. Getting clear in a negotiation situation what each party wants, needs, and would like out of the negotiation. How do you do that? How do you find out exactly what they want? How do you find out exactly what they need? How do you find out exactly what they like? You do that by actively listening and asking questions with follow-up questions to clarify. Dig deep. Because if you listen and you ask again and you clarify and you qualify, this helps create a good connection with the other person, with the other party, and makes them feel heard and seen. Selling, especially if you are in sales and you are negotiating with a client, selling is not telling. Selling is not talking also. Selling is listening and asking right questions. So negotiation is not bullying. Negotiation it should be a collaborative conversation. Number 6. Another important skill which I believe will help you to become a better negotiator is to be aware of the situation that you are in. So regardless of the objective in negotiations, the single most important factor to make sure the greatest possibility of success is a total awareness of the other person's situation. So maybe you want to get the book of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And it also has another version which says The Art of War for Executives. So you need to know the situation the other person is in. So essentially knowing the why, how and where, combined with accessing the motivations of the other party, it allows you, right? It allows you as a negotiator for both tactical and strategic moves. So you need to know the territory of the other person. You need to know the situation. You need to know their budget. You need to know if they are interviewing other candidates. You get it? So situational awareness is very important when it comes to negotiation. You cannot go to a negotiation blind. Which leads me to point number 7. It's a very important one, which is learning to read between the lines. And some people are better in psychology than others, but this skill is something that you can learn through practice. So classic negotiation focuses on comparing positions and stance, right? But the most important skill is the ability to listen to the messages you cannot read, to read in between the lines. And when you can hear that hidden text, the subtext, when you can hear that subtext rather than the pretext, you can address the real issues and succeed in getting more. So don't only hear the pretext, don't only hear what the person is telling you, understand what they mean, learn how to read in between the lines. Point number 8, learn how to pause. So in order to become successful in your negotiations, it is also important that you tighten up your communication. You do this by using few words. And you need to know when to stop and embrace the pause. It's like closing when you're in sales. So in fact, you need to become comfortable with the pause and allow the other person to digest the information you give them and let them reply. And when you say something or when you ask something, from the way they will reply, you can see where you stand. Not only from what they say, but from the way they reply, or if they don't reply at all in an email, or if they go cold. Sometimes an answer is also an answer. So embrace the pause. Point number 9, you need to know your worth. You need to know your value. If you don't, if you don't deep down know that you worth the salary, that you worth the role, that you worth the bonus, your company will not think so either. So if you're an entrepreneur, for example, or a businessman, and you feel uncomfortable charging what you worth, your clients will sense it, and they will ask you for discount or for freebies. So right now, I know we're living in challenging times, and maybe you can, reprise your services or offerings, or you can create, installments and so on. But don't appear as cheap. It is important to know your value and then ask for what you want, and you will get it. Don't come across as cheap. Don't come across as desperate. And if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a business owner, that you truly believe your product is of value, charge what you think. Give alternative flexible or payment options. Fine. I discussed it the other day, how to package and everything, but don't come across as desperate. Same if you go for a job interview. You need to know your value. Point number 10, you need to have the right mindset. So how do you do that? You need to be honest. You need to be this is what I mean by mindset. You cannot trick people. You need to be honest. You need to be transparent, and you need to understand the whole situation. So, and you need to come across as somebody that is, when you're discussing with someone, you need to have a collaborative mindset. How can we work together to figure out what can we do? You cannot always talk for what you want to get. A successful negotiator has a collaborative mindset. It is not only what you want to get. It is not only, you cannot get 100% and the other person will get 0. You need to have a collaborative mindset. The other thing that you need to do is you need to be emotionally detached. Never, ever connect in negotiations the issue with the person. Never. Maybe the other person across the table that you're negotiating is a great guy, is a great girl, but the issue, you don't like the issue, or you are arguing, you are negotiating. Never bring the issue to their personality. Never never mix the issue with the person. The issue is different, the person is different. So when negotiating, everyone has an outcome to reach, right? But attaching emotions to a single, to this, too many emotions, it is risking it to dilute your effectiveness. So if you want something too much, it can appear desperate. So you need to detach from your feelings, and you will see more possibilities and opportunities. And what do I mean by detachment? I mean, for me, detachment involves knowing your needs and remaining objective so you can stay focused and work your process. It's as simple as that. You need to have a plan, you need to follow your process, know your needs, stay on track, remain objective, and that's it. You cannot become too emotional. Imagine all these negotiators, high-end negotiators, they are negotiating hostage situations. They cannot become emotional. So, you need to be emotionally detached. Next point I would say is that self-awareness. You need to know your worth, you need to know who you are, you need to know what you can bring to the table before you ask. So increasing your self-awareness puts you in a powerful negotiating position. Because if you know yourself, you will be able to pick up signs from the people you're negotiating with, whether they are open, closed, concerned. Maybe you would also be able to understand that they are gambling. So your confidence, by the way, confidence is perhaps your greatest negotiation tool. Confidence is the greatest negotiating tool. So if you have confidence, that confidence will come across to the other person, and you will be enhanced as you navigate your way to an agreement. So be self-aware, understand what you can bring to the table, but also need to be confident. Some people are naturally confident, but they cannot deliver, and that will show later on, if you recruit them, for example. But some people are confident because they have know-how of the subject. So you need to know yourself. The best confidence comes from people that they don't just have saliva confidence, but they know their subject, because that's natural confidence. The next point is a strategic mindset. Strategic mindset, strategy is a strong word. And what do I mean by strategic mindset? I mean, you need to understand that no, the word no, nada, no, nine, or he, is the beginning of the conversation. Every obstacle, every objection, every obstacle in a negotiation is the opportunity to learn and to gather more data. So you need to have a strategic mindset. With more information, you have the power to create alternative solutions and be able to pivot. With multiple solutions, there is a higher probability than right, but you can find alignment with your negotiating partner. So you need to have a strategic mindset. You need to know the person you're negotiating with. You need to know where they stand, and then data and doing your research will help you map that strategy, that negotiating process before you sit on the negotiating table. Next point, EI, emotional intelligence. So it is not just the words. I don't mean, when you're talking with people, it is not only the words, it is the emotion people bring to the word. So if you say something, when people say it's important, but also what is important when you say something, it is the way you say it and the emotion you put behind, which is vital. You cannot, as I said before, you need to be emotionally detached, but the way you speak, the way you communicate needs to have emotion. You cannot be cold-blooded. So don't kid yourself that business decisions are made based on hard data alone. No. Data will help you map your strategy. Data is critical, but emotions are no less important than data. Emotions are no less important than finances. Emotions and the way you communicate is not less important than an Excel file with numbers. So, emotional intelligence is you need to understand your feelings, you need to know how to control your feelings, you need to know how to put emotions into words, and you also need to understand the other person's feelings and emotions and understand where they come from. And being able to set aside your own emotions to listen to the other emotions strengthens your own position. So the new world after coronavirus will probably never be precisely the same. Old ideas and approaches, to the business world, simply won't cut it. So if you simply want to put yourself in a position to acquire new skills and get good jobs and develop your business if you're an entrepreneur, or get a good job if you're an employee, or become a better leader or a manager if you're managing people, is to learn new skills and to improve the skills you have. And when it comes to negotiation, is, as I said before, no matter what industry you are looking at or working at, and business, we need to sell their products and services to keep up. And they also need to negotiate for better pricing and so on. If you're going for a job interview, if you can show up to a job interview with proven negotiation skills, you have done your research, you're confident, you know your value, you understand the other person, you understand about emotional intelligence, you know how to communicate, you will already have a decisive advantage over your peers. If you know how to negotiate with your staff, if you're a leader or a manager or an entrepreneur, right now, a lot of people work from home. I understand that it's challenging time, but you know what? A lot of employees right now, sorry to say, but they will take advantage of the fact that they are working from home and they will not produce as much. So you need to be able to negotiate, and you need to be able to, be empathetic, be there for your people, but negotiating, communicating with your staff, having the report ready and so on is extremely important. So now that you have less money moving around, businesses need to negotiate. Need to negotiate with vendors, need to negotiate with staff, need to negotiate with interviews. Leaders, managers need to negotiate with their staff, with their department. People who go for interviews need to learn how to negotiate better, because right now you have more job applicants per open position. So you don't get what you want. You don't get what you sometimes deserve. You don't get what you like. You get what you negotiated. If you want to know more about negotiation and how you can improve your negotiation skills, I actually have a full coaching course, 2 days, on how to master the art of negotiation on an individual basis, maybe as a manager, maybe as a leader, maybe on an individual basis. You want to become better at negotiating, better communicating, or on entrepreneurship. If you are a business owner and you want to learn how to negotiate with VCs, with suppliers, with vendors, and so on. So if you want to learn more about it, please do send me a private message. Thank you very much. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.